Well, good morning, Unity of Madison. It's good to be with you again, and certainly we look forward to having a happy Thanksgiving in the coming week. I want to start off with a few quotes about Thanksgiving. One is by Phyllis Diller. She said, "My cooking is so bad, my kids thought Thanksgiving was to commemorate Pearl Harbor." Johnny Carson said, "Thanksgiving is an emotional holiday. People travel thousands of miles to be with people they only see once a year, and then discover that once a year is too often." And I think that Irma Bombeck really summed it up beautifully. She said, "Thanksgiving dinners take 18 hours to prepare. They are consumed in 12 minutes. Half times take 12 minutes. This is no coincidence." And so today, what we do is we talk about this concept of giving through gratitude. Giving through gratitude is a process which we most of the time have to develop, because many times, many of us have been trained to think in the negative, not the positive. And yet, when we do that, it really kind of drowns out opportunities. It causes us to live in fear, and it does us no good whatsoever, can it? But yet, because of our upbringing, because of circumstances we run into, sometimes we just become negative. And what we want to do today is look at this opportunity of giving through gratitude. I'm going to use a program called the 4T program as I move through this message. 4T program says, written by Stratton Smith, it says that the tithe of your time, talent, and treasure. Tithe, that's the first T. Time, second T. Talent, third T, and treasure. And so as we go through, I want to kind of share with you a few stories in regards to that idea. My name is Brian Anderson, and I have really had some tough times recently financially. I do yard work mostly right now. I dress kind of shabby. I'm usually pretty dirty. And on the way home the other day, I saw a car with an older lady in it that was sitting on the side of the road with the blinkers flashing on and off. And so I thought it would be a good idea to stop and see if I could help the lady. So I pulled up behind her car. And when I got out, she was obviously very hesitant, not knowing what I might do, and especially with the way that I looked. And so I got close to her car, and she put her window down just a little bit. And I said, "Ma'am, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you. And I want you to know that." Well, she didn't believe that totally. But then I said, I think I can fix your flat for you if you will allow me. Would you just open the trunk? You can stay in the car. And so she opened the trunk reluctantly. Then once I got the tire out, I, of course, got under the car. Then I really got messy, and I was able to get the jack fixed, and I was able to fix the car or the tire. Well, I came out, and she finally came out of the car, realizing that probably I wasn't going to hurt her, even though I may have looked like somebody who would. And what happened was that she offered me $100. And I said, "Ma'am, I don't want your $100. I did this because I just want to support and help people, and especially you in this case. So please, just when you run into somebody who maybe needs some support and help, stop and help them." And that would be my gift to you and your gift back to me. So she agreed with that, kind of surprised, and she drove off. Well, this woman, older woman, I never knew her name, stopped at a small roadside cafe. And when she went in, she saw a woman who was a waitress, who was quite pregnant, and who was obviously very tired because she'd been on her feet all day. And she ordered a meal, and she ate the meal. And when the woman finished the meal, she said to the waitress, "The smallest thing I have is 100. Do you mind taking that?" And the waitress took the $100, and she went to the cash register. She comes back with change. The woman has disappeared. On a note, she said, somebody asked me to help somebody else out, and that's what I'm doing right now. Please pass it on as you do the same. That woman also left 4 $100 bills under the napkin and says, please take this. Something tells me you need it. So the woman got off work and went home to see her husband. And she knew that he'd been really worried about the finances. He was doing the best he could do, and she was doing the best that she could do. So he was worried about the finances because of the child that was coming into the world and because of some of the money we needed to take care of the bills. And so she showed her husband the just about $500 that had been given to her that day. And he looked at her and he was astounded. And you could see the relief on his face as he joyously received the money from his wife. A little later that evening, he went to bed. She rolled over and she said, Brian Anderson, I love you. So, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path, the Buddha said. Also, there is talent that we give through talent. And when we give through talents, Muhammad Ali said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Zion Williams is a player for the New Orleans Patriots. And what he did was pretty remarkable. When COVID hit and they closed the stadium and closed the practice arena, a lot of staff were let go during that time. So what he did is he stepped up and he agreed to pay the salaries of the staff as long as they were out because of COVID. It ended up being about $500,000. What a wonderful gift. Now I know he could afford it, but he didn't have to do it. He did it because he appreciated the staff and he was grateful for the work that they were doing. And then we also have tithes. The third is tithes. First is time. The second is talent. And the third is to tithe. And what does it mean to tithe? Let me share a story with you. Lee Brady was a friend of mine. She was a congregant in my church in El Paso. She was about 70 years old and she was on Social Security. And so when we asked people to make a commitment to giving on a regular basis, Lee came to talk to me. And she said she was feeling guilty because she was not tithing. I knew her condition. And I said, well, there's no reason to feel guilty whatsoever. She said, well, if I don't start tithing, I am going to feel guilty and there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm going to start tithing. And I was just about in disbelief. She had somewhere in the neighborhood of about $700 a month coming in. She had some savings and she received some support from her son every once in a while. But her house had been paid for and she was able to make ends meet some kind of way. Well, Lee started tithing, and after about 6 months, her son sent her a Cadillac, a used Cadillac. It cost $4,400, $4,500. And Lee sent him a letter and said, thank you so much, son, but I cannot accept that. And he said, why not, mother? I love you. She said, oh, that's not it. I don't have $450 to tithe on this car, this gift. And I have agreed that I will tithe on all income and all gifts in the future. Her son said, don't worry. Here's $450 and keep the car, and please come and get the car. Well, a little later, Lee found out from the Social Security that they had miscalculated her Social Security, by a couple $100 a month, and that she'd been getting Social Security for 5 years. So $200 a month, I think it was $200 a month, was the amount that they paid her back each and every month with interest for that 5-year period. And so $2,000 or $2,400 a year times 5 is around $12,000 plus interest. And I don't know what that was. But anyway, she received a check from Social Security and also the increase monthly of her tithing, of her Social. Let's stop for a second. That's Steve Edit. So Lee received over $10,000 from the Social Security Administration and also received her increase on a monthly basis of $300 a month because of inflation. She came to me. She shared the stories. And she said, Richard, I cannot afford not to tithe. What a beautiful soul. And what faith it took for her just to step out and tithe. And I don't know what created that desire within her. I think it was spirit. I think it was what she needed to do to keep herself growing spiritually. She didn't want anything to get in the way of her spiritual growth. And she shared that with me. And so I share that tithe story with you. You know, when I first began tithing, I was in El Paso and I'd gone to the church for about 3 months or 4 months. And there was a small mountain, about 3,500 feet, that had a crossing between my house, directly across my house, over to the church. And Vicki and I were at church one Sunday, and I said, I'm going to start tithing. And there was a silence. And she said, how are you going to do that? And I said, I'm just going to take 10% of my income up front and give it to the church. She said, I don't understand. You just took a big cut in income by going to the church for work. I don't see how we can do that. And I said, well, it's just what I need to do. And she said, well, if you need to do it, you do it. I'm not ready yet. But long after that she became ready because she could see the benefits that took place in our lives. Her practice grew in a huge amount. So she was making more money than I was making when I quit my job to go into ministry. You see, God takes care of us. We are taken care of, and I call God source. It's not an entity, it's not a person. It's source takes care of us. We are created to bring good to us. And so when we give, we are able to feel more relaxed. And we are saying, I trust you, universe. You have promised to take care of me. And I expect that promise to come true. So what happens, you see, is that we give through our tithing. We give our time as a tithe, and we give our treasure as a tithe. And so as we understand this program, the 4T program, what happens is we start to understand that when we give of our tithe, when we give of our talent, when we give of our time in serving others, that the world changes for us. Our attitudes change and we grow spiritually. Now, gratitude. By the way, there is a gratitude app that helped a fellow by the name of Marcus out. And I want to share the story and recommend to you that you go and download the Gratitude app because it's brand new, it's free. Stop there, Steve. Erase that last part a little bit and start where, because the Gratitude app is free. And there was a person named Marcus who used this app. It helped him overcome addiction. Marcus said that for most of his life, at this point, and he's about 45 years old, that he had been an addict. That his world was dark, both on the inside and the outside. That he tried to get off of addiction. He could not afford to go to rehab. But both times what happened was that his body rejected it. He had convulsions, he had fits, he had uh, he had a problem eating. And so he was told by his friends that he should not do that. But instead, he should join what he called a fellowship. And in this fellowship, they said to each person who was new, as Marcus was, it's not good to try to break your habit on your own. You need to take time and you need to change the way you are thinking. They said to him, our guess is that you feel like you are worthless. You feel like life is hopeless. You feel like that you cannot change your life. In order to change your life, we want you to start every day to write down every day things that you are helpful for, thankful for. And what happened was that Marcus started to do that. He said when he first started doing that, it really felt strange that, yes, he could say, well, I'm thankful for breathing. I'm thankful that I'm able to eat. I'm thankful for the house that I live in. But after that, he said he really struggled to find anything else to be thankful for. He said after about a week of writing a few things, he began to think about some other things he was thankful for, like his wife, who had suffered with him, who had encouraged him, and who had worked with him to free himself from the addiction. He was thankful for a son that he did love and did not mistreat, but wasn't able to fully embrace because he couldn't embrace himself. Began to write down some of the things he was thankful for. And then something would happen. For example, he got a job that he could keep. He found that and he was thankful for the job. Prior to that, he was not thankful for the job. He was resentful of the people that worked there and of the job. And now he was thankful for, and then he started to remember things that people did for him and he thanked them and he put them on the thank you list. After about 6 months, he said he had no problem writing down 10 things. Most of the time, something new each and every day. And after 10 months, he became very grateful for the opportunities he saw before him. One of those opportunities was to come off of the addiction to drugs that he was on. And what happened is instead of having signs of rejection, this time when he came off of the drugs, there were no reactions. He kept saying, I'm just thankful I'm able to do this. And he was able to literally free himself of addiction. He says he now sees life's lens of gratitude. That gratitude has changed his thinking, that he now understands he's a spiritual being. He now understands the power within him when he is filled with gratitude. We can all learn from Marcus. What a great story, and how gratitude changed his life. Today, as we look at this new season starting, known as the holidays season, where we celebrate both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and have an opportunity to start the new year off again, but with the right mindset, with the right attitude. Because when we are grateful, we are more aware of what it means. Grateful or great is, its original meaning means to be greatness. To be grateful is greatness. And to be thankful is being thankfulness. And so we can look at life, the great life that it is, the great opportunities we have, We can repair any relationships if we work at it. And we certainly can repair it within ourselves, knowing we've done the best that we can do and that we love the individuals maybe that we have hurt and have hurt us in the past. It's a time to not just eat turkey. It's a time to live life, be excited, look forward to the holiday seasons and to the year coming up. And so, in giving gratitude, we can look at those around us. We can understand what they've meant in our lives. We can be grateful for Unity of Madison, grateful for those individuals who have stepped up to make a difference through their service, through their time, and through their talent. We are so blessed. We are blessed to have people that say yes. We are blessed to have a new parking lot. We are blessed to have skylights that do not leak. We are blessed to have an audio-visual system that may become the envy of all Unity churches. Life is good. You are good. Spirit is good. And we're going to live in that goodness throughout this year and for the rest of our lives. So let's now take a moment to pray and meditate. And as we do, just gently close your eyes. As you close your eyes, open up the mirror of your life. The mirror that reflects what you are grateful for. In that mirror, you may see a spouse or significant other. In that mirror, you may see a child or a grandchild. In that mirror, you may see your home, a close friend, somebody who, or the person who brought you into unity. In that mirror, you can see yourself before you committed to your spiritual growth and after you made that commitment. Mirror is a reflection of your past. And so just take a moment in the silence to see that mirror and to give deep, deep thanks. I am thankful for each of you. I am thankful for the opportunity of serving Unity Madison. I am thankful for the difference you have made in my life. I give thanks this day, knowing that good continues to come my way, because I think of good things that are happening and continue to happen in my life and in your life. Take a moment. Remember the mirror. And remember what you are thankful for. So it is in the name of the Christ within each of us, the gratitude of knowing ourselves, we say, Amen.